He's surely a wizard. Hikaru Nakamura getting the job done in incredible style down in St. Louis, Missouri, USA. I've got the full details of what he's done this weekend and into Monday, all to come. But we're picking up here with the Blitz Chess tournament, which happened today, Monday 24th of March. And this is the final round game. With black, we've got Hikaru himself. With the white piece, it's Mikhail Antipov. He's chasing him down, and this game is incredible. Let's dive right in. They're over the board, blitz chess. We see e4, best by test, and Hikaru responds by pushing his own king pawn. The knights develop. The Gucci Reza piano on the board, knight f6. Hikaru keeping it super solid with these setups. And now after this pawn push, surely everyone in his chess dog will tell you to push your own rook pawn, stop white gaining too much space. But no, we get castles. The knight comes here instead of the pawn. This one pushes on, and now we see this rook's pawn charge down the board. Surely now you go a6 to prevent too much space gain, but Hikaru just develops the second bishop, allows pawn to a6, glides on past with this one, and look at the Swiss cheese on the light square. We normally love a bit of crumbly, stinky Swiss cheese, but not in this position, not when you're trying to clinch the tournament. Now we get knight d5, and black should respond with knight d4. Prepare something like pawn c6 to kick this guy. But Hikaru instead decides, how can I play three of the weirdest moves in the row to just freak out my opponent? He starts with queen to c8. We get pawn c3. Now he plays bishop d8. Where's this all headed? Castles and rook b8. I mean, that trio of moves is almost as peculiar as Fabiano's Saturday night disco outfit. There he is, Big Bird, loves it. That is cool AF, as the kids say. Cool as Fabi. We now see rook e1. h6 takes control of g5 and i5. And after this expansion in the centre, black is in a little bit of trouble. Taking here is possible, or even the weird b5. But Hikaru goes for the active bishop to g4. But it gets the double question marks of doom, because you've got big problems on the light squares. Therefore, this is not a trade you ever want to be making. Bishop b5 highlights it, and you can't drop back as you'd like to do, or then white can take here. You've interrupted the connection. Whoops, that one. And now, of course, you shatter the structure, and this isn't quite like the other day where it was a good shattered structure against Fabi. I'll link that game at the end in case you missed it. That would be bad. So the knight didn't drop. Hikaru uses a load of clock time, forced into this one. Pawn recaptures. Bishop takes would have also been a good move. But now after this one rotates, your center is simply collapsing. Now you can definitely take this pawn. Nothing wrong with it. Maybe Antipov didn't like something about this kind of counterplay. The pieces stream out a little bit. Not sure. But still, white is much better. Big extra central pawn, but instead he plays this move. He picks up the bishop pair, and he just goes for this positional approach, bringing these pieces onto the light squares. And now I love how Hikaru counters in this position. Excuse me. Because you could play the move of bishop f6. It's the most solid response, if you like, or queen d7. But what does he do? Just mixing it up. You have to in blitz chess. Pawn to f5. Now, it's not a good move if white finds the immediate pawn g4. And upon e4, you can even sack the rook. There's some amazing lines. It's not easy to spot this stuff, but the light squares are a problem. However, f3 prepares it. Not the most precise, because now this bishop can bounce out, hit a new chocolate slide. But now when Hikaru misses it, you can indeed take the tin opener to the king side, Gary the g-pawn, banging down the door, debt collection to be done. Don't take, you absolutely collapse. So Hikaru pushes on with this one, sets up this wonderful pawn square, sometimes known as a pair, or is it a diamond? I'm not really sure. I'm not a mathematician. Where's Kramnik when you need him? And after this move of takes on e4, it's not about trying to recapture one of those pawns, but interrupts this one's flow down the diagonal, so you can then hit a dark square, attack it, also threaten to go to Forktown, so this move deals with both threats. And now the top move of Stock Barnacle is f4, hanging an entire piece, but then with the idea that you can go f3, and really white should be giving up a piece apparently. Okay, kind of ninja lines. Queen d6 was played. They're getting really low on time now. Takes on f5 is played, and pawn c6 just seeks to open lines. You'll see what I mean. King g2 covers the checking square. Now we see bishop c7, and that's the battery. That's the counterplay. Dark squared fun, but no. This one interrupts with all its matter of truth. Now we see takes on d5, and you don't even need to damage your structure because the second cannon hits the center. Pin and win, baby, as they say. This one drops back, the pawn drops, Hikaru challenges the file, but after the double stack, takes, rook takes, he's in big trouble. The knight backpedals here to f7, this queen lands a check, king h8, and now this is great chess. We don't see any kind of swap off here and then let the knight in and that kind of thing right now, but queen e6, offering an exchange, and if you go for it, pawn recaptures, you're hitting a knight, you're hitting a bishop, it's going to start forcing lots of exchanges, white's going to be coming out ahead. So Hikaru, what does he do? He only goes and sacrifices an entire bishop, which is gladly taken. I mean, we've not seen something this shocking since Wesley So tried to kiss Kaya live on cam. I mean, yes, he was in absolutely stupendous shape at that point, completely shredded, eating 400 grams of protein a day, could clear a room within minutes, but still, it was rather strange to see. What do we now see in response? Well, it's knight g5, of course. You hit the queen, you go for the counterplay. Now queen e7, technically best. Queen d6 played, hits the rook, but now check. Hikaru gives this king the runaround here. Don't forget, white is a piece up, but you're not in time to crash through on e4 with the knight or queen, not properly yet, because the rook is hanging. So instead, Hikaru plays this tricky move, and it's not so easy to deal with here. White does go wrong. Now queen c6 is a crazy computer line, don't want to go into all that, but e5 definitely looks more natural, saving the pawn, advancing it, big attack. However, you of course allow this queen to sort of be properly in behind enemy lines, you've cut off your heavy pieces. White does remain better, but black picks up counterplay with checks, and the knight and queen are so dangerous, especially in blitz. But fine, we didn't see e5, we didn't see queen c6, whoops, this one here. Instead, we saw rook d4, but it's a big mistake as you can see, because Hikaru can simply crash through on that pawn there, eliminate it, and now after queen g6 to hit the rook, which is threatening this discovered check. Once the knight moves, we see Hikaru drop back, supporting the rook, landing the check, king goes to f2, best move, and now a repeat of the position. Surely then that's how the game's ending. Well, no. This is where Antipov goes for it. He's chasing position in the standings, prize money, prestige. He plays rook takes on e4, keeping the game going and alive, and it's perfectly justified because white does stand better. Hikaru starts checking. The king's so exposed. This is the challenge for white, and we see Antipov go wrong. Best move, king g2 apparently, and then I guess you keep the pieces more connected, you know, bishop g3 steps back, blah blah blah, I don't know. Instead, he plays the move of king g1. It's subtly different because now Hikaru's got a great resource at his disposal. He leans back, as he loves to do, and he whispers, "Do you even rook cliff, bro?" Rook g4 check is now a huge threat, and that is why we see it blocked with a bishop. You could go with this one, by the way. Sure, sorry, this was played. Now I feel stupid. Right, we get a repeat here. Now what I was going to say is you could play this one again, and even if black checks here, you're not mated because you can block once more. There's no queen g3, you know, the square is covered twice in fact. But we didn't see this bishop g2 now repeating. Again, Antipov keeps the game going with bishop g3. Fair play, but Hikaru finds a brilliant response. Now, if you want to look for the move here, do test your skills. There's actually only one move here which keeps the game at a level position. You know, Ival Barovic is happy, it's 0-0-0. And the move is rook g4. If you were to retreat your queen, you know, e7 or something, you actually lose the game. White is much, much better. But we won't go down that line. This is what Hikaru found. And now you hit the queen and you hit the bishop twice. And of course, the bishop can't take the queen because it's pinned to the king. What does white do now? Well, you actually have to bail out with a draw. And you can step back because even though the rook could take, you recapture with check, king takes, then you take here. Of course, white is winning now with the two bishops, completely game over. So you just have to accept a draw. You know, queen e8 check, this kind of thing. Whoops, not that one. Game ends in a draw. But, okay, we didn't see the check played. Instead, Antipov just has a complete brain meltdown. He plays king to f2, and of course, it's just horrendously lost. You see Stock Barnacle poop its pants because takes with check, and that is game over. The king's going to step away, then you win the queen. This is all she wrote. Queen against bishop, plus black's got the extra pawns even, just to boot, just to make it extra horrible. This the final position. Hikaru took the blitz very commandingly, it must be said, on top of winning the American Cup. So he's definitely cemented his place as world number 2 in the standings and in the kind of view of the chess world, I guess you'd say, at this moment in time. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you missed his great game with Fabi earlier in the tournament, have a look at the video on screen, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.